What is neediness? Basically, it is a feeling of desperation for outward fulfillment. Neediness can be traced to both things and people. Some people are needy for material possessions. It can be stuff that you have deep emotional connection to, like teddy bears from the time that you were a child, or neediness for some technological stuff, like you're feeling that you have to have latest model of the best smartphone out there, or things that represent status symbols, like big brand names of clothing companies. Worst case scenario for people having attachments to their stuff, becoming a hoarder, where you gather a lot of stuff and you have a hard time to get rid of them. And it doesn't matter if you don't use them at all, or you use them once in a year. That is the feeling of possession that makes it hard for you to let them go. And of course the reason for that is deep-seated neediness, feeling incomplete without your stuff. And then there is a neediness for other people. Most often than not, when we talk about neediness, we refer to intimate relationships, where one part of the relationship has this poisonous need for constant attention. In those cases, when you notice, when your partner is constantly texting you, trying to call you, or wants to know your whereabouts, your plans for the evening, your plans for the weekend, that person is very needy. That person needs to have total control in order to feel satisfied. The attention object oftentimes feels smothered and restricted. Those type of relationships are not healthy and has to be abandoned immediately. Many people can forget that neediness can be traced to friendships as well as family. We all have experienced friendships where one person has to always keep contact with you 24/7. And that person has usually very little going on for him or her. Family members can also be very needy, especially if the person haven't gotten enough attention during childhood. People can also be needy for situational outcomes. All of those situations and feelings boil down to low self-worth. So what is the cause of neediness? Neediness originates in your childhood. Small children up to 2 years old bond with their parents in a non-verbal way. If that child doesn't get enough attention, then it results in insecure attachment, which later on will be projected on adult relationships. There's different types of attachments, secure and insecure. There are 3 different insecure attachments: anxious, dismissive, and fearful. People with needy tendencies are oftentimes insecure and anxious. That type of person feels like giving his or her 100 to all of their relationships, but they don't feel getting the same feedback. They invest 100% of their emotions, but they get very minuscule part of it back. These people tend to be very intensive to deal with. So what can we do in order to deal with this desperation? I would advise to trace back to your childhood and try to understand the circumstances that led you to inherit these characteristics. If you come to a realization that you have been very spoiled and unsatisfied child, then there is a good possibility that you are needy because of that. Needy people lacked attention during early years, which means that they're trying to compensate in their adult life. If you can understand that notion and try to be mindful and self-aware, then you can rewrite your belief system. You need to pop the illusion that you need validation in order to exist. We people don't need anything besides food, water, sleep. Everything else is just a bonus. It will take time to rewire your system, but you have to be persistent. If this video gave you some value, leave a like and comment down below what you want to see next, and I will get back to you.